Hi friends, I'm Felicia. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Yeah, I just, I don't want this to be a really long video. I'm going to be wrapping up the books that I read in June, July, and August. There's a lot of books to talk about. I think it's like 25. 22. Okay, I can do math. Anyways, so I don't want this to be super long. Sorry that I haven't been posting regularly. I was talking about it with Chris earlier and I was like, I don't understand what my issue is, that I just don't make videos. And I think it really is that I hate sitting down and fighting with editing on my computer because it just takes so long because it's so laggy. So it's awful. But yeah, I've been good. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the books. Oh my gosh. And then hopefully I'll be coming back in not too far from now with like some more fairly semi-regular content. So I have a lot of books to go through. I think that I was gonna go through in order of having read them, and then I thought maybe I would do fiction and non-fiction. I think I'm just gonna go through in order of having read them and try not to talk about them too long, but I've already been waffling on for 2 minutes. So just gonna get started. The first book that I read in June was Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Chanel Miller was the victim of the Brock Turner rape or sexual assault case in California in 2016, I think it was. And yeah, this was her story of not necessarily, well, that experience and specifically the trial and everything. I think everyone should read this book. It's very hard to read, but I think that the things that she talks about and the way she talks about how the legal system handled everything is just horrific, and I think that everyone should read it to get some understanding, and that system really needs to change. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Then the other 3 books that I read in June, I only finished 4 books in June, but the other 3 that I read, they were all the 3rd book in trilogies. So I finished 3 trilogies in a row, which I felt really excited about and just like really proud of, because I'm notorious for not finishing trilogies. So yeah, I feel good about that. So first I finished The Toll by Neal Shusterman, which was the 3rd book in the Scythe series, and I heard a lot of people didn't like it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It did feel at times a little bit long, but I didn't think that really there was anything that I would want taken out. So I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good ending to the series. I really like that series. I would like to own it so that I can push it on people. I really want my brother and my husband to read it, so yeah. Then I finished reading I almost said Georgia Nicholson, Misadventures of Tallulah Casey series. This is the last book, The Taming of the Tights, and yeah, it's about Georgia Nicholson's cousin who goes to a creative arts drama school in basically the sticks in Yorkshire, and it's wonderful and funny and silly and great for like 14-year-old girls and 32-year-old girls who are experiencing anxiety during a pandemic. So yeah. And then I finished The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which is the last book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. And again, really good series closer. I had it from the library and I started it like 2 days before it was due, and I was like, I'm not gonna finish this, but I decided just to try, and I ended up reading it in 2 days. So that was really good. Yeah, I thought it was a good ending to the series, and I'm surprised that I liked that series as much as I did, because it's basically about a girl who is taken by Fae, and she's raised as a Fae, or in the Fae Kingdom for like her whole life. Okay, so that's June in 5 minutes. I'm gonna lump these books together. One of them is even from September, like I just finished it yesterday, but I'm gonna talk about them all at the same time. So I read Anne of Ingleside and Rainbow Valley and Real Love Ingleside. So I'll just let you look at these beautiful covers. So these are the last 3 books in the Anne of Green Gables series, technically, although there's another book slash potentially 2 books that are not published in the Tundra editions and are not considered, I guess, like part of the official canon. But apparently, supposedly, Ellen Montgomery submitted a 9th book following the Blythe family to her publisher like the day or the day before she died. And it was very dark, and it had a lot, it was dark, so they didn't want to publish it. And it follows people in their community and not actually the Blythes. But, so the book is called The Blythes Are Quoted because I guess apparently people are always like, Mrs. Blythe says this, and Susan says this, and Walter Blythe says this. So apparently this book is little short stories like that, with poems that Anne and Walter wrote. And then in the 70s they published this, The Road to Yesterday, which takes out the dark stuff, supposedly. I don't know, haven't read it yet. But then I saw that The Blythes Are Quoted was on Book Outlet. So then I ordered it and it's coming. So when I get it, I'm going to compare it to this, and if it's basically the same, I'm going to get rid of this and keep that because it's mass market, and you know how I feel about mass market. And then I'm going to read that, and then I'll finish officially the Anne of Green Gables series. Okay, but these are the last 3 in the official series, and I really enjoyed them. I would say out of these 3, this one was my least favorite. Really liked Rainbow Valley, and did like Rill of Ingleside. This takes place during World War I, which I was kind of surprised of. I don't know why, but yeah, it was just interesting to read a book like written about World War I, like 2 years after it ended. So yeah, but yeah, this just follows Anne's family throughout the years and her children. Her children are more, well, in these 3, there's not a lot of Anne. She kind of doesn't really come into Rainbow Valley at all, and then she's more in this one again. But yeah, really enjoyable. Love the series. Glad that I finally finished. Now I want to re-watch the movies because the 3rd movie that the CBC made before I was born, I think, or when I was a child, the 3rd movie really deviates from the books, and I've only watched it once, like a decade ago, so I just really don't remember a lot about it, but I feel like it might be actually mostly following kind of this storyline from Rilla, but just Anne instead of Rilla. That's kind of what I think. If you know for sure, like, let me know, but I'm gonna watch the movies and then I'll let you know what I discover. Okay, so that's the rest of the Anne books taken, and then so the Anne Long read-along, yeah, that Tia and all the books and Amanda from the Curly Reader were doing, that's over, but I'm going to be continuing it because I have, well, now I will have 5 more. We'll have 5 more Ellen Montgomery books. I have the Emily of New Moon series, and then I have the Blue Castle, and then I'll have the Blythes Are Quoted. So I'm just going to like read the Blythes Are Quoted and the Emily of New Moon series, and then I'll read the Blue Castle some other time. Okay, now we're in July. I read The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. I liked it. I like The Count of Monte Cristo more, but it's The Three Musketeers. My battery light's flashing. This is just super. I listened to the audiobook of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen for Jane Austen July. Listened to the audiobook narrated by Rosamund Pike, which was delightful. And this book is perfect. It's perfect. I can't even tell you all my feelings about Pride and Prejudice. It's just perfect. So there's that. Okay, then I listened to the audiobook of Beach Read by Emily Henry. Did that as a little group read with some friends on Facebook. And so the premise of the plot is that this girl who is a writer, she goes to a beach house that she inherited from her dad, and she's trying to, she has writer's block, and the guy that lives next door is a writer, and so they decide that they're gonna challenge, or they make a bet that they're gonna write a book in the other person's genre, and then whoever sells their book first to the publisher wins. And romance ensues, and I did really enjoy it. I love the writing, I love the characters and the character development and the things that they're going through in their relationship. I loved it all. There are a couple open door sex scenes, so just be aware if you're someone that wants to know about that. So that was like, oh, okay, I'm listening to this at work. This is awkward. Let's just fast forward 30 seconds. So yeah, just watch out if you're reading that. That is present. But yeah, otherwise it was good. I just sometimes like to read contemporary in summer. So it's good. Okay. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Narrated by Stephen Fry. Yeah, it was good. Sherlock Holmes, of course it was good. So this book is kind of weird because it doesn't have the same stories as audiobook, and then it has the Hound of the Baskervilles on the back, which isn't in the audiobook at that point. It's later, so I don't know what they were thinking when they made this book, but I'm counting it as right. But yeah, continuing on with that. Okay, then was the reading rush, and in my reading rush vlog I talked about Howl's Moving Castle, Such a Fun Age by what is her name? Kylie Reid, brain for it. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, Knitlandia by Clara Parks, At Knit's End by Stephanie Pearl McPhee, and Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. So I talked about those books. Oh, that was like a fuzz. All of a sudden I thought there was smoke. Like, what is burning in here? It was a fuzz. Okay, we're okay. So I talked about all those books in the end of my reading rush vlog, the last vlog. So if you want to know my thoughts, I talk about them very much in depth there. And so those are the books that I read in July. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get through this. Okay. So in August, I read Help Thanks Wow by Anne Lamott, which is just some of her reflections on prayer. I think Anne Lamott and I are very different kinds of Christians, but I do appreciate her thoughts on prayer, and I think the way that we feel about prayer is pretty similar, and that it's important. And some of the things that she said were very lovely. So, you know, you might disagree with her. There were some things that I don't agree with her about, but I don't think this is supposed to be like a this is not supposed to be a theological book. It's just supposed to be her reflections and musings on prayer. So I would recommend it. Just, you know, just be forewarned that, yeah, I don't agree with her all the time. But yeah, anyways. Okay, then the next book that I read was The Gospel Comes with a House Key by Rosaria Butterfield. And I listened to that on audio, and it's narrated by the author. And I would really recommend this book as well. It's probably the best, yeah, it's the best book that I've read on hospitality. And wow, I just really felt convicted when I read it. And basically, she's just talking about how the most effective form of evangelism is to build community with people, which I totally agree with. And I need to get better about in my own life. So I really want to read this book. Also, Rosaria Butterfield has like a crazy testimony. So I want to read more books about her, or written by her in the future. I would like to get them. Then I read Extreme Final Cafe by Stuart McLean. I don't know what book this is, 6 or 7. It says 7, but I think it's 6. I don't know. I don't know which book is 6 in the series. This is the Vinyl Cafe series. I love it so much with my whole heart. I think that everyone should read it. It's just like short stories following this guy named Dave and Morley and his family and his friends and their neighbors. And I love them all, and this book is perfect, and everything is perfect, and Stuart McLean is perfect. Okay. I need some more. I'm talking too much. Okay. Then I listened to the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. Listened to the audiobook narrated by Richard Armitage, who should read every book. That's what I think. And this is a lovely ode to Janeites set just after World War II. And it's a fictional foundation of the Jane Austen Society. It's not the story of the real one. And it follows like 8 main characters, points of view. And they live in this cute little town. Major Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society vibes. If you like that book, you'll probably like this one. I really liked it. It was really good. Really good historical fiction. Okay, then I finally finished, after a year and a month, Shine by Newsboys. And this book was published in 2002, and it is still surprisingly relevant. And it's just basically talking about how Christians, we need to live our lives to be like an example to people, and kind of they talk about like evangelism and hospitality too. It was really good. There were parts of it that were a little dry, and it took me a while, but like the meat of what they're talking about in this book is really good. So, and still very relevant. Oh, wow. Okay. Then I read 52 Simple Ways to Say I Love You by Stephen Arterburn and Carl Dreisler. And this was part of my challenge to myself to read 6 marriage books this year, and this was the second one. And it's just literally 52 ways to say I love you. And so they have like an idea, and then they have like kind of the steps and how you can execute that idea. Some of them are good. This book was written in the 90s, so some of them are really corny. 91. Really corny and cheesy, and a lot of them involve tapes, which cassette tapes. So what are they? We don't know. But some of them are good. And then some of them, they say it's supposed to be simple, and some of them are like, this is not simple. I would never do this. Okay, and then the last book that I want to talk about is The Weight of Ink by Rachel Kadish. I read this for my book club, and I hated it. I hated the writing. And it's one of those books that's like blurbed on the cover by Toni Morrison. And I was like, why do I hate this book? It's supposedly so good, but I just hated the writing. It was like so many sentence fragments. It reminded me a lot of another book that I read a few years ago, Neck Alley. And I forgot what it was called, but I hated it. So this is set in 2000 and in 1665. So it follows a historian that finds these documents from 1665, and then it's also like the woman that was writing these documents. And so we're reading these 2 stories that come together, kind of. And I really hated all the characters, and I didn't care about the story, and I was bored a lot of the time, and it was almost 600 pages, and I was just bored, and I wouldn't have finished it if it wasn't for book club. And I didn't like the dialogue, and I didn't like the characters, and I didn't like the character development, and I thought that the times, the things that happened during 1665 were unrealistic. They did not feel historically accurate. And it just was not good. I wouldn't recommend it. So that's a way to end off this video on a low point. My battery is still going somehow. Okay, but that's the, 22 books that I read over the last 3 months. Let me know if you have thoughts on them. If you would like to know more about them, please I will elaborate if you have any questions. I tried to go through this very quickly. I'm hoping to have more regular content soon. And yeah, I don't know what else. Just thanks for watching. Leave any comments and thoughts down below. My sister-in-law did my makeup and my hair today because she was bored. So that's why I look like that. Now I'm going to go take it off because my eyes feel heavy. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. And yeah, just let me know anything, what you've been reading, what you think of these books. And until next time, so long, thanks for all the fish.